Turn this on. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have a friend of mine with us, and I'm so excited to hear what she has to say. She is a fellow 2014 elite coach. She joined Beachbody back in April of 2012, and her husband, Scott, are both full-time coaches. She is a 6-star diamond coach, 1-star qualifying in her second business center. She has 32 consecutive months in Success Club. So there's something to be said when we talk about consistency in Success Club and how it ties in with the success of your business. So she's here tonight to talk to us about how to create your own brand. Please welcome my friend, Julie Henderson.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on the call tonight too. For those of you that don't know, I met Brianne actually through an East Region leader coach group. She was looking for some Super Saturday information and I helped her out, and we've kind of became friends ever since. We met, was it on our way to leadership last year?
We happen to be on the same flight.
Yeah, I live in Buffalo and you're in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
And we both had a layover in Chicago, and I saw her check in and I was like, I'm in Chicago right now too. And we just happen to be on the same flight. So awesome. So thank you so much for having me on. It's kind of funny, like when Brianne asked me, and like when other coaches asked me to talk on team calls, I never really know what to talk about because I'm one of those coaches who I don't know what I do. I don't really know what works. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys probably think the same thing about yourself. Like you're doing something, you're on this call, which is amazing to begin with, like for taking the time out to do that. And, you guys are all successful, you're running your businesses, and some of you may not really know like what makes you successful. And so that's kind of how I am. Like I just kind of do stuff and it works. And I also have a ton of failures, but, and so I actually had to ask in a couple coach groups that I'm in, just saying like, hey, what do I do that like helps people? And everybody was like branding. You have to talk about branding. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. But first, so like Brianne said, I started as a coach in April of 2012, and I was a free customer for 2 years before that. For 2 full years, I bought P90X on eBay. I bought Turbo Fire on Craigslist. I actually met a guy in a gas station parking lot to get my Turbo Fire. And at that point, when those videos first came out, coaching wasn't out yet. So on the video, it said, log into tbeachbody.com and log your workouts. So I logged in, logged my workouts, and I was given a free coach who never reached out to me. So for all of you coaches who are Emerald and above, reach out to your free customers. You never know who they're going to be. So for 2 years, I did P90X by myself in my basement, and I had a coach, and I didn't think it was a real person. I thought it was like a computer animated thing or like a automation. I didn't think it was a real person at all. So about 2 years into it, I was looking for a vegan meal plan online, and I ended up finding my now current coach just by Googling vegan meal plans. Found her, found out that coaches were real people, made a coach switch, and became a coach right away. I was basically already coaching. I was posting my workouts on Facebook. I was telling people to go buy P90X. They were asking me what I was doing for my results. And so it was just kind of a natural fit. And I actually remember like reading over the P&Ps because I was like, there has to be a catch to this. Like this, there has to be something wrong with this. And so I signed up and just thought I would do it as a hobby just for fun. And next thing you knew, it like blew up. And here I am 3 years later, full time. My husband left his job last year, and it's just been absolutely amazing. Through all of that, it was not like I woke up one day and I was a 6-star elite coach. Not at all. It actually took me a year. It took me 11 months to go diamond. It took me 13 months after that to go 1-star. At the time, challenge groups were brand new. You guys have no idea how spoiled you are right now. Challenge groups were brand new. When challenge groups first came out, they were supposed to be program specific for the entire length of the program. So a lot of the programs were 90 days, and you were supposed to have 5 people, no more, no less, because 5 people they thought was the magic number. So try running a group for 5 people that all want to start on the exact same day and keeping them going for 90 days. It was impossible. It was really, really hard. That was when vegan Shakeology first came out as well. I think I started that like 2 months after it came out. So we're super lucky to have that as well, because there's so many people who, not only vegans, but people who are lactose intolerant, don't eat dairy for whatever reason. And at the time, there were no coach trainings at all. There was no like coach basics. My coach really doesn't do much with coaching at all. So she's been supportive in a way that like she's there if I have questions, but she really doesn't do anything with coaching. Like her coach group, I don't think anybody's posted in it in probably like 6 months. I mean, it's dead. And so I really got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to do something with this. And I have two options. I can either sit here and wait for training to drop in my lap, which was not going to happen, or I could figure it out. So I literally went to Google and went to YouTube and made them my best friend. And everything that I've learned, I've been able to take from that. And I actually am kind of glad now looking back that I didn't have everything dropped in my lap, because it actually it forced me to go out and get it on my own. And it forced me to really go out and, take the initiative and be the leader and, really realize that this is my business and this business is up to me and nobody else but me. So through all that, I've been vegan for about 6 years, and I'm bringing this up because it goes with the branding and with the story. So I've been vegan for 6 years. I've been a coach for 3 years. And when I first became a coach, I was really nervous about posting about being vegan, because I thought people were going to be like, oh, she's going to try to make me go vegan. She's crunchy granola, who knows like what ideas they had. And so I really kind of like held back. And so during the 2 years that I didn't have a coach, that I was, basically coaching myself, but I wasn't a coach yet and I didn't know my coach, I was just sharing what I was doing and people were naturally attracted to me. And I think you guys all know that like you have a coach, sign up, they're amazing, they post amazing things. The second they sign up to be a coach, they like lose their mind and go like Beachbody ad crazy. So that was basically me. Time Hop reminded me of that a lot last April, because you just kind of like freak out and you're like, okay, now I'm a coach. Now I have to look this way. I have to act this way. I have to talk this way. I have to post this way. And you kind of forget like who you are. And so instead of posting what I was posting before and, being me and sharing what I was doing, I was like, oh, here, this is on sale. This is this ad. Here's a picture of my Shakeology. Here's a picture of my workout. And I kind of lost like what people were attracted to me in the beginning because of. So I have a couple slides that I'm going to show you that have really helped me really figure out like who I'm attracting. Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. And I can give you guys these slides after. So these have really helped me like figure out, who I'm attracting and how to be me, how to stay true to myself and not turn into this like robot. Like I have to look a certain way and act a certain way. And this has really been what's helped my business grow and what's really attracted people to me. And because of this, people actually come to me now, and I'm not having to go out and, personally invite people, and which is still amazing. And I still do, personally invite some people, but I have so many people coming to me now just because of what I'm posting and what I'm sharing. And this has really been why. So just kind of here, if you're struggling to attract the right people, if you're not sure who your target market is, if you feel like you're spinning your wheels and, you feel like you're doing all 3 of the vital behaviors every day, and for some reason, like something is just not clicking, there's a really good chance that it's because of branding, and it's because you're not speaking to the people that you want to speak to yet. So these are just a couple examples that I love to share. So I think we all know like that person or that coach who shares the pictures of their Shakeology, the pictures of the workouts, and that's great if you are Beachbody. But we're not Beachbody. We're not promoting Beachbody. We're promoting ourselves. People can buy P90X and Shakeology anywhere, but what people are getting is you. You have so much to offer, and you have so much value, and people are going to connect to you, and people are going to stay with you because of you and that connection. And so if you look at these pictures, you don't know anything about the people who posted this. You don't know who they are, what their likes are, what their interests are. It works. I love sharing theirs too, because they actually take it to the next level, and they actually put like "it works" in their name. And they're like, if you go on Instagram and look up like almost any "it works" rep, you can see their whole entire profile is just a giant sales ad. And so you're going to go to this person's Instagram or this person's Facebook page, and right away, they're going to try to sell you something. And so you're going to be turned off. You have no connection to them and no reason to follow them. So these 3 people right here, I don't even need to mention names. You guys all know who these 3 people are. You may not agree with what they do. You may not want to go that extreme, but you know who they are. And the reason you know who they are is because they're true to themselves. They are putting themselves out there. They're not trying to fit in this box. They're not trying to fit into this mold of, what people think they should be or what they should look like. They're being them. A great example of this is, number 1 and number 2 coaches in the company right now, Melanie Mitro and Amy Silverman. Could you imagine what would happen if, Amy Silverman was like, oh, I want to be a number 1 or, top coach. I want to be number 1. I'm going to try to be like Melanie Mitro. Or could you imagine if Melanie Mitro did the same and was like, oh, Amy Silverman is creeping up on me and trying to take over number 1. She must be doing something right. I'm going to try to be Amy Silverman. I mean, that would just not work. I mean, it would be absolutely ridiculous. They would not attract the people that they have attracted. There's no way that they are going to be able to do what each other is doing. What they have to do is be them, which is what they are both amazing at doing. And what is great about this company is you really can do that. Like, you can look at the top 10 coaches. If you go in the back office, there's actually a tab somewhere in the back office. There's a tab that has the top 25 coaches in the company. And you can look at them and you can go and snoop them on Facebook and follow them. I highly recommend that just to see what they're doing. But you're going to see every single coach is doing something different. They are being unique. They're being themselves. They're not posting the stock photos. They're not posting this is on sale this month. They're really sharing what they're doing and allowing people into their lives. So because I'm vegan, I attract a lot of vegans. And now that I'm finally, not out of the closet. I mean, I was always like posting about being vegan, but like when I became a coach, it's when I kind of backed off a bit. But now, I attract a lot of vegans. I attract a lot of people who are veg-curious, vegetarian, just dairy-free, people who are looking to add more vegetables into their diet. You don't have to be vegan to be on my team. Like, I'm not I call them level 5 vegans. Like, I'm not an all or nothing. And so Thug Kitchen is an amazing, if you guys aren't following Thug Kitchen yet, you have to. Thug Kitchen is an amazing website and cookbook. It started off as a blog. They are very in your face. They're dropping F-bombs 24/7, but people are attracted to that. Like, if they weren't being that, if they weren't doing that, they would not have the, the following that they do. So not only that, before they had their cookbook, these are a couple of the pictures that used to be on their blog and their website. And you can tell they're all very branded similarly. Like, you look at this picture and you don't even need to read the words. If you've been following Thug Kitchen for long enough, you're going to look at this picture and you're going to know that it's a Thug Kitchen recipe because they have branded themselves so well. So I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't know how to brand myself because I don't want to be just fitness, or I don't want to be, I don't have a 6-pack abs, or I have all these other interests and I don't know how to combine them. I have a lot of guys on my team who try to use that excuse, and they're like, well, I'm into gaming and I'm into, all this other stuff. I'm into fishing. I don't know how to relate that. So here is a great example of how to do that. Nerdfitness.com is a website. It's hilarious. And it's a guy, he says, I'm Steve. I'm the goober to the right. I created Nerd Fitness to give people, who are struggling a fighting chance. And he works in his niche. He works in Angry Birds. He makes Angry Bird workouts. He makes Lord of the Rings workouts. He did a Father's Day post that was Star Wars related with Legos in it. And so it really shows how he's been able to take other interests that he has and mesh them with the fitness. So it's not just a generic, here's a fitness post website that is just going to get lost in the mix of all the other ones. So he has really been able to stand out because of that. So the easiest way to do this for yourself is to, the first step is to make your different list. And so your different list is basically just a huge brain dump. And this is going to take you a while to do. You're not just going to sit down and write out this many things all at once. It's going to take you a while to do. It can always be growing and expanding as you're growing. You're always going to be growing and changing and learning, and the more personal development you do, you're going to go through different phases and different seasons in your life, and this is always going to be changing with you. So I don't want you to think like, once I get this done, that's where I'm done and it's stuck. So basically, this is just a big brain dump, and this is everything that makes you you. So the coaches who you see posting, the Beachbody ads and the Shakeology pictures and everything that's stock, they focus on everything they have similar with other coaches. And so what you want to do to be different is to focus on what makes you different. So I mentioned I'm vegan. I'm not a level 5, dairy-free. I love freedom. I don't like feeling stuck. I'm a college dropout. I have no attention span. I'm very impulsive. I talk fast, if you guys haven't noticed that already. I love makeup, lashes, and spray tans. I can, like, this whole list goes on and on and on about all of the differences that I have. I'm a former massage therapist, an esthetician. I used to be a dog groomer. I love DIY and home decor things. I suffer with body image like a lot of people do. And I'm not, I don't want to be skinny. I've never had like the goal to be skinny. I've always loved muscle. I've loved working out. I've always wanted to be strong and athletic, not skinny, things like that. So this is what makes me me. And so I'm not just going to do like one giant post where it says like, hey, this is me, and list all of this, but working this list into my posts lets people know who I am, and it lets people relate to me. I've done every diet. I've done Weight Watchers, Atkins, Nutrisystem, Hydroxycut, everything like that. So today, one of my posts was, I live in Buffalo, New York, and there is a fast food taco chain that's been around for about 20 years called Mighty Taco. And I used to go all through high school, and I used to get a super mighty sour cream, no sauce. I used to get chips with cheese and a cherry Coke. And that was like all through high school, my early 20s, that was like my staple. People see me now and they're like, oh, all you do is eat vegetables. All you do is eat clean, which is totally not true. But so it was an easy way for me to kind of like work in that little bit of my past and kind of like breadcrumbs. People are like, oh, she's actually human. She's real. She's relatable. She, went through a drive-through today. She used to eat like this. I eat like this. That means there's hope, and it's not doing it, all overnight. Also, finding things that you can add value to, finding things that you can post about that that is going to make people want to come back to your page. A lot of times it's going to be things that you totally take for granted, that you think it's completely obvious. It's something that you do every day without thinking about. A great example of this was my husband. When he was still working his full-time job, he would make these huge smoothies every morning for breakfast, but he had it so laid out the night before, it was crazy. Like, he had all these little containers with every single thing he put in it. He even had his water laid out. And we have cats, and there was one time that I caught one of the cats on the counter drinking the water. So then he would leave the water laid out with a container over the water. Like, he had it so laid out and so detailed and so perfect, but he took it for granted that like a lot of people don't think to do that. And you have so many people that are like, oh, I can't have breakfast because I don't have time. Here was his way to be able to show value and just be like, listen, this is how I do it. This is how I take 5 minutes out every night, lay it out. I just dump it in a blender in the morning. The makeup, lashes, and spray tan. So I posted a picture today of like stencils and a pencil for eyelashes. And I got a ton of interaction on it. And people are like, oh my gosh, like eyebrows. How do you do that? Where can I find it? Does it work for alopecia? And it got a lot of interaction. And it's just offering value. It has nothing to do with Beachbody or coaching, but it's letting people know who I am and that I'm there to help and giving advice for something. So once you do your big brain dump and you get your different list, your next thing is going to be to figure out who you're talking to. And a lot of times you're going to find that the person who you want to be attracting and the person who you're talking to is who you were 2 to 3 years ago. And so you're going to figure out, what does that person need to hear? What was I going through 2 to 3 years ago that I wish I knew now that would have made my life a lot easier? So going back to vegan, it could be like different dairy-free substitutes. It could be different apps that I use, for traveling. Like, I use the Happy Cow app. I'm obsessed with it. Even if you're not vegan, it's amazing to find just healthy restaurants when you're traveling. And, it's something that I use every time I'm traveling, and I take it for granted, and I forget that other people don't know about it yet because it's my journey and I've been through it, but I forget that people are at the starting point. So you're really figuring out like what they need to hear and what you can do that can help them, and what you can do, like what their pain points are, what they're struggling with right now, and what you can do to help them get through that, help them make their life easier right now. So you're going to go through and just basically, like I said, figure out who you're talking to, figure out what their age is. Are they married? Do they have kids? What are their struggles? What are their fears? What are their goals? What do they like to do in their free time? Just what makes them them. And it's difficult at first. I think a lot of people, the older you get, you lose yourself. And so the different list is really difficult to do, and this is really difficult to do, but it really makes you like open up and realize like, oh yeah, I remember I used to do that and I loved it. And it kind of makes you grow as a person as well as you're doing this. So here's my avatar. I named her Jenna. I took a picture of Lauren Conrad, and so she is my avatar. If you're looking for pictures for avatars too, Pinterest is amazing for it. A lot of the pictures that I have, I get from like just fashion things and different styles and clothes that I like. And then I go through Pinterest to find different avatar photos. So basically, she doesn't like being told what to do. She is sick of being in debt, looking for something more without having to go back to school, because that was me. I, was a college dropout. I went to school. I changed my major like 5 times and could never figure out what I wanted to do that made me happy. And I knew that I needed to find something, but I didn't want to go back to school for 4 years. I embrace change. I actually love big, scary changes. I'm not afraid to make big changes. Creative, and afraid that life will pass me by if I don't take action. So this is basically me. And so now I know that when I'm posting, I need to be posting to her. What does she need to hear? What's going to help her? So you can also do additional categories too. So you can think of like her current thoughts or situation, what her history is. This can be anything. It can be like, is she divorced? Is she married? What kind of family does she come from? Things like that. Her job, her personality traits, anything. Fears, dislikes, what she spends money on, what she Googles, what she, where she shops. And it's really interesting because the more that you start to do this, the more you're going to get tagged in things. So I get tagged in metallic tattoos, anything like eyebrows, nail polish.
Cats,
yes. Anything gold. I just got tagged in something gold today. And then cats. Cats is a huge one. There was a cat Snuggie that went around. I literally got tagged so many times that I made like a collage of it, of every time I got tagged, and then I was still getting tagged after that. So it's really funny, but it's stuff like that like people, see these posts and they think of you because you've branded yourself. I have a coach on my team, Tatiana. She just went 5-star, and she gets tagged in Chipotle tags all the time because she's always talking about Chipotle, always talking about guacamole. Her 2-year-old son is hilarious, and he's like, I want Chipotle, and so she's branded herself to be that. I have a 2-star diamond coach named Angel, who is the easiest coach to shop for because she's very branded to, her team name is Fit and Free. She's the Fit and Free mama. And anything with like feathers or like dream catchers on it, like it's her. Like I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Angel. And so she's like the easiest person to shop for. So once you're good at branding too, it makes you really easy to shop for. So here are a couple questions that you can ask yourself, like while you're going through this, to figure out, what kind of things to, write down and just kind of like to jog your memory. You can ask like, what's the number one question I get asked all the time? That's huge. I have a coach, Kelly, who is, her site is Healthy Revenge, and she was finding that she was doing a lot with kids and kids nutrition, but one of the most common questions she was getting asked was, how do you get your husband on board? And so she actually made a hashtag hubby on board, and she has like a whole section on her website now about how to get your husband on board. And so it's really like, what you get asked a lot, which is usually going to be not what you expect or not what you want people to ask you. So, ask yourself what you get asked the most. And then a good like sub question for that is what people should be asking you. And that's number 2, what they should be asking you. What are your top 3 Facebook posts in the last 6 months? That's going to tell you a lot, because you're going to find that you may think that you know who you want to attract, but you're attracting somebody totally different. And you may think you know the posts that are going to attract people, but those posts really don't get much traction. I mean, I'm sure you guys all have been there where you have this post, you think it's amazing, you post it, and like you get no interaction on it. And you're like, it was even a good time. Like it was prime time, it was like a Sunday night, and I'm still getting no traction on my post. And then you post something that's totally random that just like came to you spur of the moment. You question even posting it because you're like, who's going to care about this? It's so whatever. And next thing you know, that has like a ton of traction. It gets shares, comments, likes, and people are going crazy over it. So that's really going to tell you like what your people, what your followers, what your customers, what your potential customers want to see. What could they talk about all day long? What are they afraid of? What do they need to know about you? A lot of times this isn't easy. A lot of times too, we know ourselves, so we kind of assume that everybody else knows us. But we kind of forget that people don't. And even if people do know us, you still need to be breadcrumbing your story and giving little bits and pieces here and there, because people forget. People aren't on all the time. And also, even if somebody knows a chunk of your story, it may not relate to them at that exact time and moment. And it may just be, they just need to hear it again at the perfect time when they are like, okay, I'm ready. I've seen your posts enough and I am, sick of ignoring you. I am ready to do this. And your post came at the perfect time. What is your ideal customer posting on Pinterest? What are they watching on YouTube? Even like TV shows, posting about, what TV shows they watch. That's going to tell a lot about what your customers are into. Another great thing, number 11, is what are the top 3 things that are preventing your ideal customer from getting a challenge pack, joining your challenge group, becoming a coach, finding out what those objections are, and having like notes or stories written for it. So if you're getting say you're getting a lot of price objections, having something written down that has your story with it. So for me, when I became a coach, I had left a really high paying job at GM to find my happiness, basically. So during that time, I went into debt because I was going back to school to get my aesthetics license, my massage license. I really wasn't working much at all. I was a dog groomer, which wasn't paying well. And when I found out about coaching, I knew that I needed to do that. I was studying for my state boards for massage, finishing up school, going full-time. I was working full-time. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the money. And I put it on a credit card because I knew that it was something that I needed to do. So I'm able to share my story and share what I've been through and, to people who are worried about, either time or money. And that way they can relate to me. They can relate to what I've gone through, and they can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel with their story as well. Because if I hadn't done that, I would probably still be working at a spa, unhappy, working for somebody, not making a ton of money, and just be miserable. So really finding out like what is holding them back, and having like a blog post or a note on Facebook or a video that you can make that you can share with that. What is your ideal customer not expecting from you that if you created would knock their socks off? This is going to be like going above and beyond and offering something free to them. It's a free clean eating group. It's a free, kicking your sugar habit group. It's a free squat challenge, anything like that. And so this just kind of like goes through the rest of the questions to be able to help you figure out like what you can do to help them. So once you're done with that, you can kind of all bring it together with a mood board. And a mood board is basically going to be your colors that you want, your colors and your fonts, and a couple different like accents that you can bring together to really make everything branded towards you. So that way, if somebody sees a photo or they see, anything that you've done on a blog or a website or, a recognition photo or anything like that, they know it's you before they even read it or see it. And it just keeps that consistency. It keeps the consistency between Instagram, between Pinterest, between YouTube, between Facebook. You don't want somebody finding you on YouTube, going to your Facebook and being like, this is completely different. I don't even know if it's the same person. So what I've done is for this one, I took this Hello Summer picture, which I absolutely loved. I ran this through PicMonkey. I just figured out which colors that were in it that I liked. I wrote down the names of the colors, picked some fonts that I liked. I love the peace sign and the heart. My new website's going to be Peace Love Julie. So I try to incorporate that in a lot of things. And so if you see a lot of my pictures, they are going to have the same feel. They're going to have the same fonts in it. They're going to have the same colors in it. And it just keeps it cohesive and consistent through all of them. And then here you can kind of see it brought together where it's got my mood board with my colors, my fonts, and my avatar pictures as well. So I can kind of really get a good feeling of who I'm talking to when I'm posting. So this here is a great example. We're not graphic designers. Some of you maybe. I'm not a graphic designer. I did not go to graphic design school. So what I do is I cheat and I take pictures from people who paid graphic designers a lot of money. So like I showed before with my Hello Summer picture, I just use PicMonkey. I use the little dropper tool to figure out which colors were in there. Here's another mood board that I made for my husband, and I took it from Dollar Shave Club because I absolutely love their colors, and I never would have been able to take those colors and make them myself at the bottom. I never would have been able to like pull them together or brainstorm them to make them work. And so what I did is I just took a screenshot. I used the little dropper in PicMonkey and came up with the colors for that. Same thing here on this site, youcanbrand.com. I loved the colors in this too. And so this was another example where I found a website that I really liked and then borrowed the colors, and then you'll be able to use those colors to make it your own. So one of the coaches that I mentioned, Angel, who's one of my easiest coaches to shop for, this is her avatar. And so I kind of just want to show you guys this to show how it all gets brought together. So this is her avatar. Her name is Riley. She's 27. You can tell just from looking at the picture that she's a mom. She's free-spirited. She's in the grass. Her kid has a, little like flowy skirt, boots, and it looks really fun and lighthearted. This is the coach's logo that she has, and don't feel like you need to make a logo, but this is the logo that she has. She had it done on Etsy, and then these are her colors. So as you go, you're going to be able to tell that this is Angel posting. She posts these motivational quotes every single day. I think there's 4 colors total that they flip between, but you don't even need to see that it's Angel posting it to be able to see these. And I've actually had coaches from my team and from other teams share these photos, and I know right away that they're Angel's photos because they're so branded towards her. This is Angel on the left and on the right. And even with this, you can see how it still all pulls together. She's using the same fonts, using the same colors. They all have the same feel. The pictures have, about the same, what's the word I'm looking for? I totally just drew a blank. They all have the same, not texture. Brianne, what am I looking for?
I know. I can't, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I know what she's talking about.
On Instagram, how you can do different.
Oh, filter.
Yes, thank you. I totally drew a blank on that. Yeah, so you tell, they all have about the same filter, so they all, it all makes sense. It all blends together. And then she took it another step further and had professional photos done. And, you can really see it all brings it in together. She actually had that Mom Boss mug made on Cafe Press. And so it's got the font that she uses. You can see her laptop case is, really scrolly and really goes along with her. She's got her kids there. She's showing that she's working at home, still being able to be with her kids. And so, it really pulls it all together. And those are going to be different steps. Like, you're not going to just write your different list and then all of a sudden an hour later have a photo shoot scheduled. So I don't want you to panic and think that, but it's just something to think about as you're going. So this is my best list of, what you can do. So basically the brain dump is going to be first. That is going to be the most eye-opening. And all of this you're going to be adding to, tweaking, and modifying as you go. Then create your avatar based on who you want to attract, which is also based on your different list. Ask yourself what your avatar needs and wants to see, and that way you can base your Facebook posts to that. And then create the mood board to bring everything together. And then something else I like to do on top of this is to really write down the traits that your ideal coach or your ideal customer, which are going to be pretty close to the same person, write down the ideal traits that you want that person to possess. And, do you want them to be, hardworking, self-motivated? Do you want them to be creative, fun? Write down just everything you can think of for these traits, and then flip it on yourself. And rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for each of these traits, because that's really where you're going to find out, am I doing the things that I need to do to attract that person that I want to attract? Because we all say we want the next rock star coach. We all say, we want an amazing team of coaches. We want a team that's going to, be self-motivated and self-driven and really rock this business. But we need to be doing that first to be able to attract those people. So that can be a little bit eye-opening too. So these are my best tips. I hope that helped you guys.
I think they were great. Am I muted? No.
Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah. Do you guys have questions? You guys can take yourselves off mute. I'm sorry. I have no voice. If anybody has questions, you guys on the phone, I don't know how to unmute you. We get a lot on the phone.
But yeah, once I've noticed for myself and for my team, once we started figuring out, who we're talking to and really being able to narrow that down and figure out who we are and who we're talking to, it makes it easy. It really does. You start attracting the people that you want to attract. You start attracting people that you work really well with, that you mesh with. You don't feel like you're dragging people, and it's just, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just such a freeing feeling. You're just gonna be like, this is fun. It just clicks. It's really nice.
Yeah. And I think when that happens and you all kind of mesh well together despite your differences, it really becomes much more of like a tribe than a team. You know, you really kind of get that closeness within you. But yeah, I love those tips. There's so many that I don't implement that now I'm gonna go do after this. You guys that are on the video, does anybody have any questions for Julie? I don't think anybody's muting themselves. Okay, going once, going twice. No? Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of these tips. It was so good to have you on, and I'm excited to talk with you guys tomorrow.
Yes.
I hope that my voice will be in a little bit better shape by then. I think so. But thank you for taking the time to come on and chat with us tonight.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, you guys should follow her. She's got great recipes. I don't care if you're vegan or not. I love all the food that she posts. So many of them are my go-to snacks, and great tips for when you're traveling and want to eat healthy. Julie is she's definitely the girl to follow for that. And for all the cat stuff. That's hysterical. Because I feel like by the time I find something funny and I go to tag you in it or post it, you're like, I've seen it 15 times, and then I still see people tag you in it for like a day.
I can always tell like what's going viral because I get tagged like all of a sudden other 5 people tag me in the same thing like all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another thing that really helped me too. I don't know if you guys have heard of Edgar, meetedgar.com.
I love Edgar.
Cool. And so basically you load a ton of content and it recycles it. And so I use it for my like page. I don't know how you guys feel about like pages. I hate like pages. I suck at like pages. And like one of my friends, Brooke, is amazing. Like her like page is her bread and butter of her business. And it just works for her. I'm not that person. So I'm lucky to like keep my like page like alive. So what I did is I load everything into Edgar and it just rotates content. And when you add it though, you add it by category. And so just adding things by category was really eye-opening for me because here I'm adding everything by category. And I was like, oh, this is supposed to be part of my brand. Like, dairy-free tips, vegan tips, traveling tips, things like that. And I'm like, I really don't have that many posts that are talking to that person. So when I was loading in my stuff, actually the traveling wasn't even in my brand. And then I realized that I post a lot of traveling tips and how to eat clean while traveling. And I travel with food a lot. You can actually bring like way more food than you would ever think on an airplane. Like not even as a you bring it as a carry-on, but it doesn't even count as a carry-on. And a lot of people don't know that. So I make videos about that and what I make and like even how I store it in my hotel room if I don't have a fridge. And so I was like, I need this in my brand. And I can't believe I never even thought of that. And so just loading everything into Edgar was really eye-opening for me and working on the categories and things with that. So that was really cool. So if you guys
I use it. I love it. I think it's like one of the best things ever for your business. And that's what I use it for is my like page because I suck at mine. It's terrible. I feel like you kind of have to have it, but I forget if I don't have Edgar, I kind of forget about the like page.
Me too.
Because we do so much on our personal pages, I think, that unless you start off right from the beginning with it, I think it's tough. But those are all really, really great tips. Like I said, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Guys, this recording will be up, and I'll shoot you the link, Julie, if you want to share it with your team so they can see this. But thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for everybody for hopping on tonight too.
Yeah. And I will chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night, everybody.